Hello everyone, and welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. We're shooting this video in my video game room because I thought the setting would be appropriate, because today I want to talk about the sad decline of brick and mortar based retail stores that serve video game collectors. More specifically, I want to talk about the sad decline of stores like Toys R Us and what's currently happening with GameStop. On Wednesday, June 5th, GameStop reported their quarterly earnings to Wall Street. Wall Street was hoping they would come in with a much higher revenue estimate than what they did. GameStop reported earnings $90 million below what Wall Street was expecting. This caused the stock price to drop 39%, and as a response, GameStop immediately cut their dividend to shareholders, which, if you're educated in finance, business, you know that's a very negative thing, because most people who want to invest in a company look at cash flow, they look at dividends, they look at return on investment to figure if they want to put their money in that business. Now, I want to start off this video by saying I do think Wall Street did react a little too harshly to what's happening with GameStop. That said, another thing I want to address, and this kind of ties into it, is there seems to be a lot of negativity on online forums, watching YouTube, a lot of articles written about the animosity that people, and more specifically video gamers, have towards GameStop as a company. Okay? I'm not saying it's unjustified, but what I am going to try to make a point in this video is that if GameStop goes away, a lot of you hardcore video game collectors, investors, speculators who want physical copies of all the items you buy, you're going to miss GameStop royally. Much like I miss Toys R Us right now, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit as well. That said, I'm not saying that any of that criticism isn't justified. GameStop does do a lot of shady business practices. And to be fair to them, in the business they're in, they kind of have to. But some of the things that I disagree with what they do is, like for instance, they have rewards programs, they have membership programs. You trade them a game that's worth $15, they're going to give you $2 for it, turn it around, sell it for $15, then hope that person trades it back in, which the price is going to drop, so they're going to get $1 for it, they're going to resell it for $10 or $12 again. And the cycle continues. Part of that, though, is when we look at the market as a whole, that's really not their fault in a way. The current video game environment, thanks in part to a lot of people, unfortunately, digitally downloading a lot of their games online and through the modern newer systems like Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, it's causing GameStop to lose massive amounts of revenue. Okay? GameStop, their only option is to make up for that revenue elsewhere. That's why when you walk into the store, you're greeted by a bunch of what I call tchotchkes, you know, the wonderful Funko Pops that I tell everybody not to collect because they're going to have no future value in 10 to 20 years from now, but people don't listen to me and they fill their whole shelf full of Funko Pops. Now, if you're buying them because you like them, by all means, it's not the topic of this video, but I caution anyone from putting serious money in the Funko Pops. It's Beanie Babies 2.0. That's all it is. Okay? It's not the topic of this video. Again, just wanted to put that out there. But that's why you see so much of the more lower-end mass-produced collectibles that are now gracing like 25 to 50% of GameStop stores, because they need to make up for that lost revenue elsewhere. That said, I do want to take this time, though, to comment. Honestly, my view on GameStop is a little bit different than most of you guys. This is why. I pre-ordered this from GameStop. This is my limited edition 20th anniversary Pokemon 3DS system. They had the pre-order open for a month, and of course, after they closed the pre-order, people took to YouTube and started complaining, I couldn't get my 20th anniversary Pokemon system, therefore I'm really mad because speculators are selling them for twice the price now. And my response has always been, wait a minute, you had a whole month and a half to pre-order it. I walked right in to a GameStop store, had no problem pre-ordering this in the window it was offered. In fact, they even said, if they get any extra, we'll let you know if you want to buy them, because sometimes they order extra. That's how common you could have gotten this. It was not available on store shelves. It was available for a pre-order. Same thing, my Mega Man Legacy collection with the gold amiibo, which I also VGA'd and came back in '90. I had no problem pre-ordering this. Yet people were upset because when this came out, well, I can't find the Mega Man Legacy Collection anywhere. That's because it's available by pre-order only. Okay? There were some stores like Amazon that did have this, that you could have clicked on it the day it came out and tried to get it, but it sold out immediately. Okay? So I'm not going to go into details on that either in this video. I'm just sitting here saying that I think a lot of the criticisms against GameStop are valid, but at the same point, you have to look at where collectors of physical copies are going to get their games today as we, it's June 2019 that I'm shooting this video. Another couple more years, I'll be honest, I don't think physical video games are still going to be a thing. I mean, that's the way the industry is going. And it's amazing how many people like me and other people have said steadfast, no, if I'm going to pay $60 for a game, I want more than a digital download. I want a physical copy or something that I have ownership and rights to and can sell and collect and stock on my shelf. I don't know if you can see, based on the video, all these games that are in this collection, there's a reason why. If you can see, some of the titles are duplicates. I buy one copy to keep sealed, if it's a game I like, and I buy another copy to open. 90% of the games on this shelf are factory sealed. Okay? Over here in the Amiibo, except for the Amiibos that you can see out, all these are factory sealed. Most of these Amiibo were bought at Toys R Us. Toys R Us was an incredible place to get video games, collectibles, and toys when they were open. One of the things I don't hear a lot of people talk about is how sad it is to not have Toys R Us in the market before. And I know the criticisms. Some of you are going to say, well, wait a minute, Sean. Toys R Us sold Amiibos for $13.99 when the suggested retail price was $12.99. How can you defend them? Very simply, do you remember walking into a Toys R Us back when you could, roughly 2-3 years ago? They had a wall full of Amiibos. Okay? Even the stuff that was reprinted was available in mass. I had no problems getting my Captain Marvel Amiibo. What else here did I get from Toys R Us? I think most of these were bought. Lucario was once considered hard to find. The Toon Link, I got 5 of from Toys R Us, first prints. No problem getting any of them. Yet people are like, oh, that's a hard to find Amiibo. No, it isn't. Okay? My point is, one of the things that we've gotten so used to, and I speak to all the antiques and collectibles trade, so I want to make this very clear. When I say this, I'm not speaking to heritage auctions, the high-end auction retailers and galleries that cater to the high-end market of vintage video games, comic books, coins, currency. It's expected you buy them or bid on them online. That's not what I'm referring to. But the modern mass-produced stuff, I think there's a missing sense of nostalgia or emotional connection when I just go on Amazon, click a button, and hope that the item is sent to me without being damaged, with it being sent to me in some type of form where it can, at least if I want to, be gradable and not be crushed. I've had a lot of bad experiences with most online retailers, not even just Amazon. I'll be very honest, the retailer that does the best in shipping me goods, PlayAsia. Again, this video is none of my videos are sponsored or endorsed by any company, manufacturer, or any company at all, or any business. That said, I've had more luck getting stuff from PlayAsia that gets shipped from Hong Kong, coming through the mail, than I have from Amazon, which has distribution centers all over the US. I don't know what it is. I don't know if when the item gets picked off the shelf, they use robots, and the robot mishandles the item. I don't know if it's because they do so much of a volume business that the people who are stocking where the stuff goes in the warehouse are just dumping it in and the stuff is getting damaged as it gets processed. But I've had so many problems ordering off of Amazon, and it's nothing against Amazon. Amazon's been great in handling my returns or trying to get me a copy that does suit my needs in regards to what I want in the condition I expect. They've been good in that. But that said, I just wanted to put a video out here because I love watching some of the YouTube videos on, I worked at GameStop for 8 months and it sucked, here's why. Some of these stories are hilarious, and I'm going to let you guys know something. When I was 18, I worked for Electronics Boutique. Electronics Boutique, through a series of mergers and acquisitions, is partly what GameStop is today. But one of the things that nobody wants to talk about is a lot of the policies and procedures that began with Electronics Boutique are the same procedures and criticisms that are getting criticized by GameStop. They were adopted by GameStop, and collectors are just attacking GameStop for no reason. For instance, in the mid-90s, Electronics Boutique got into the business of pre-owned games. They did it with Genesis, Super Nintendo, and the thing that drove me nuts is you could bring them a mint condition copy of, let me use this as an example, Mortal Kombat 2 for the Super Nintendo. They would take a magic marker and they would dark out the UPC on the back of the box, okay? They would also put a price sticker on the manual, on the box. Then they would take the game, put a P that stands for pre-owned on the cartridge, wrap it in shrink wrap, and put it in the back. So when somebody bought that game, guess what? Most of the damage came from Electronics Boutique themselves. You can't blame GameStop for using those same practices today that Electronics Boutique used in the 90s when I see all these wonderful videos on YouTube saying how great Electronics Boutique was. Newsflash, I have a lot of nostalgia. I was working at Electronics Boutique in the Coventry Mall in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, when the Sega Saturn was released back in 1995. I bought it on launch day. I paid $399 for that system that came with Virtua Fighter. I got Panzer Dragoon with it and loved it, okay? I have a lot of great fond memories of that day and of working there. That said, you cannot blame GameStop for doing the same stuff that Electronics Boutique did back in the day, and then create videos on YouTube over how great Electronics Boutique and EB Games was, and how GameStop is now the enemy of the industry. GameStop is still serving a purpose, okay? If you don't want to buy pre-owned games from GameStop, I don't blame you. Don't buy them there. That's fine. But understand, most of their revenues are coming from pre-owned games. That's where they make most of their money. They do not make their money on one-shot items like this that they may get nationwide, 100,000 units and then sell them all, and then that's it. That's not where they're making their money. GameStop's making their money on the stuff that's on shelves now. That said, if you're like me, like I collect a lot of factory seal games, I like stuff to be in mint, case fresh condition. So unfortunately, I'm stuck where I have to literally try to order a case of something from a lesser known distributor, or I have to go into a store like Walmart, Target, and hope I'm getting something that's direct from a factory seal case that wasn't sitting on the shelf for X number of hours or days or whatever, because it's getting shelf wear in that case, okay? But the thing is, GameStop does serve a market in the current video game collecting environment, and I don't think they get enough credit for that. I'm not by any means defending their practices. All is what I'm saying is, I think a lot of investors, collectors, speculators are going to miss GameStop if they continue to have declines. I do think Wall Street is being over-concerned about their earnings. I really do. I think it's on a continual downtrend, but it's not at the point where it's in urgent dire straits where GameStop's going to disappear tomorrow. The problem is, though, for Wall Street to regain confidence, GameStop has to post more earnings and quick, okay? For that to happen, you have to have confidence in GameStop, and I don't see that happening. So that, along with digital downloads, may sink GameStop. But at the same token, I want to leave this in your minds. Think of those of you that are old enough to remember Electronics Boutique, Babbage's, and other stores. When you think back on your youth, maybe you were in high school, maybe you were in college, heck, maybe you bought your first house, you were married, and you drove to Electronics Boutique, Babbage's, or whatever, and you bought your video game system of your dreams, whether it was Sony PlayStation, Nintendo 64, GameCube, whatever it was. You drove, you bought it, you took it home. That experience, I assure you, stayed with you, and I can prove it just in this video alone. See, this video game room has all bookshelves filled with games. What I'm trying to do here, and what you're trying to do if you have a video game room at your home, you're trying to replicate what the store, the original stores that you bought your video games at, looked like, with the games being on store shelves. So in a sense, in your own house, if you have a setup like I have, with a video game room, and one day I'll do a video and I'll show you this whole room. I have glass cabinets with rare stuff in it. I have all these IKEA building bookshelves stacked with games and amiibo. The one thing that I'm trying to replicate with this, I'm trying to make it look like a video game store, ironically. Okay? the way that it appeared when these items were first on the shelf. And so are you. And if collectors and video game enthusiasts continue to buy online through Amazon and they just click a button and the item comes in a brown box, guess what? The piece of the nostalgia that they're missing is the most important piece. Because I can remember almost every single video game I got as a kid. And the anticipation of going to the store, the anticipation, King of Prussia Mall. I live in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. I am literally 25 minutes from King of Prussia Mall. Going there and going to a game store as a kid who was either 14, 13, 15 was an amazing experience for me when my parents took me twice a month, okay? I remember all those trips perfectly, to the point I can remember walking into the second floor Babbage's when it was still there and seeing the Apple IIc computer games on store shelves and me sitting there finding a game called Bard's Tale, wondering what it would be like taking it home and having an experience not only with the game itself but the packaging, going to the store, getting it. It was just an incredible experience all around. Today's collectors, thanks to internet retailers, are not going to have that same experience. And that's the real shame. So all you guys out there that are sitting there bashing GameStop, your complaints are legitimate. But at the same time, much like Toys R Us, you're going to miss them when they're gone. Trust me. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, even if you disagree with it, feel free to like, subscribe, share it. Again, if I get enough views, the YouTube algorithm, who knows where this video is going to go, I will gladly do a tour. I have a video game room here. The next room over is actually a Lego room because I sell on Bricklink. So I actually have a Lego store sitting next door to this room. Okay, so keep it here and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.